Hey everybody, it's the Beardy back with another movie review on the Beardy and the Baldy channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing the new release, Independence Day Resurgence. And with me I've got some of my lovely little aliens to keep me company during this review, including one of the aliens from Independence Day itself, which we never actually get a name for the race. They're just the aliens, which I kind of like that because, we don't we don't know where they're from. There's no clever name for them. They're just the aliens. Uh, I like that. Okay, so this is going to be a pretty spoiler-filled review, but I don't feel that anything is actually spoilers. But I kind of feel like I have to say that because I'm going to be giving details of the plot, which obviously the main plot is the aliens come back 20 years later, and we have to fight them off. I mean, that's essentially the main plot of the movie. But I'm going to get in a little more with that. So we start 20 years after the events of the first movie, so it's set real time now, and the world, the human race, has kind of unified and stood together after the devastating attacks in the 1996 movie, and it's kind of a peaceful world. War and violence and all this stuff has pretty much gone the way of the dodo and other things that are now extinct. And everything's pretty good for us in the U.S., in the world rather, not just the U.S. And you've got this coalition of nations. They've reverse engineered all the craft and technology of the aliens, and they've made their own new futuristic jets, fighter jets, and space tugboats and laser arrays and all this stuff. And there's a moon base and everything. And when they called it moon base, I just immediately started thinking of Transformers. The animated movie. But anyway, which, if you're a movie and you can make me think of the Transformers movie, that's always good. Although, most of the time that's going to pale in comparison to the 80s Transformers movie. But anyway, I'm bunny trailing here. So, the world is unified in preparation of the eventual return of the aliens. Only we're a couple hours too late to do it. There's this something arrives that looks like it's destroying the Earth. So, in a very American fashion, even though the whole world votes on this, despite a couple disagreeing with it, we shoot first. We get our laser array on the moon, and this sphere thing is there, and it's just there. And some of the characters are pushing for, no, don't shoot it. Let's find out what it is. It looks like it's different than. It's very different from what we've seen before, and people are having visions of this thing because of the alien psychic connection from the first movie. And so we blast it, and it sends wreckage to the far side of the moon, and the heroes go to investigate and everything. And while they're investigating, the real threat shows up. The aliens, a harvester queen, I believe they call it, comes with her massive ship, and it does the old kind of older sibling hand on your head, brain sucking kind of move to the northern hemisphere over Europe, and settles over the Atlantic. The legs of this ship are everywhere, and one of the best moments is, the first movie you see the utter complete destruction of the White House. Well, it's rebuilt, and a lot of the visuals kind of remind me of StarCraft in this movie. You've kind of got these futuristic elements to the classical look of the U.S. Capitol building and everything, but instead of destroying the White House this time, the leg comes to rest, and it kind of pushes through the back of the building, so the front and everything is still there, and you just see the I guess it was the White House they destroyed in the first one, wasn't it? And you just see the flag just kind of gets that dink, and it just made me laugh. So the aliens arrive, but nothing happens. There's no big coordinated attacks all over the world. There's just this ray blasting down into the Atlantic Ocean. And there's a boat out there that, realizes, oh, they're drilling to the core because we've got technology that can read what they're doing. So it's all, can the humans band together and come up with a plan to stop and fight back this seemingly unstoppable force, because our technology, even though it's derived from theirs, isn't penetrating their shields again, and all this stuff. And the heroes band together, and the brains think stuff out, and then you've got the courageous people that have to do some sacrificial maneuvers, and melodrama between fathers and daughters and sons and brothers and all this stuff. And so, the big fight comes towards the end of the movie, and I will give them credit. In the trailers, they did not give away a lot of the latter half or last third of the movie. So, big kudos to that. That is a big plus in my book. And I will say the biggest thing for me was that we did not see a computer virus uploaded into alien technology from human devices, even though we had the ability to rebuild their stuff. I'm glad we didn't see that, because if they would have done that, that was my biggest measuring stick. As long as they didn't have that in this, I would like the movie. And I did like the movie. But I would say go to a matinee, or if you have like a discount Tuesday or whatever, theaters are in your area or cinemas, I would not pay full price for this movie again. I don't think I did last night. Did I? I don't remember. But it's and if it's available in 3D, I don't know if it'll be worth the 3D. I think that would be very chaotic and confusing, and that probably would have stressed my eyes out watching this in 3D. Let's see. But like I said, it was fun. I laughed a lot. There's a lot of little like in jokes and stuff to the first movie. Getting to see Jeff Goldblum and Judd Hirsch return to their characters. Bill Pullman's back as the president. Vivica A. Fox is in, which her story, I mean, when you meet her, she's like a full-blown doctor working in a hospital. Not that people can't turn their lives around, but to go from where she was in the first movie to being a doctor, I guess you could do that in 20 years. I don't know. It seemed like a stretch of a character just to get them in a specific place for a moment in the movie. But hey, she bettered herself as far as careers. Was able to provide for her family. So, no disrespect there. It just seemed like a bit of a jump in character progression, where everyone else is pretty much continued on their through lines from where they were in the first movie. Yes, there's an absence of Will Smith. His fate is mentioned if you haven't seen the stuff online already. There's this real great painting of him in the White House when his son Dylan goes to meet the president, played by Cela Ward in this. So that was kind of a nice little nostalgic moment. Well, also he died in a test accident, or a test flight accident or something to that effect, working with the new spacecraft, aircraft derived from the alien spacecraft. President Widmore's back. Bill Pullman. His daughter, what was her name? Penny. She's now involved with Liam Hemsworth's character, who's one of the pilots. And they introduced this cool theme. There's this like the Legacy Squad or Legacy Squadron they called it, and they're all children of people who were involved or contributed to the first fight in the first movie. His family is parents, as far as we know. We don't know him, Liam Hemsworth character. But there's a couple other, of course, Dylan, has kind of stepped up to replace Will Smith, and he's followed in his footsteps. And it's a global unit. It's not just all American fighters and everything, and that's pretty cool. So we'll come back to that thought I said about this kind of unified world. It's a great idea, and I wish we lived in this world. It's a world that would eventually grow into the exploration of Starfleet Academy and all that stuff for Star Trek. That's a great ideal. It's the world that would have come out of devastating events like the first movie, or what Dr. Manhattan and Ozymandias do in the Watchmen graphic novel, where they get the world to unify over the threat of alien invasion, which is very different from what you see in the movie. But it's interesting that thought would carry through. And you want to talk about loss of life? I know people blame Man of Steel and X-Men movies, but man, the amount of lives lost in this movie are gigantic compared to what we've seen in other sci-fi action movies. Of course, it's all done by aliens invading us, not people trying to protect us or whatever. So I guess that's a little bit different. But that whole sentimentality of this unified world, it just kind of smacks a little. I don't know. It just hits at a wrong time, and I don't want to get too deep or cynical or whatever about this. But just with the state of the world right now and everything that's going on, it just feels like it's a great ideal, and I wish we could be there. I think we have the potential to be there. But everybody's just too focused on what divides us instead of looking at the things we have in common, which, in my opinion, there's more things we have in common than we have differences. It's just people want to focus on the differences and make a big fuss out of that. But anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. That's a different video for someone else to make. That's not what these are about. But anyway, so the Legacy Squad is cool, but there's these subplots. You've got the humans. You've got people all around the world who are having visions of things to come. There's this orb thing that we attacked on the moon that's not part of the invading aliens. It's actually the One Hope to defend against them. And that kind of thing is cool. That's cool. It sets up, this definitely sets up to where we could see potentially a third movie where instead of defending Earth, we go off and try to take the fight to them. Yeah, good performances. The movie, I felt, just had a little too much going on, too many subplots, too many little things spinning all over the place to be a really cohesive, tight, focused movie. But I had fun. It was entertaining. Laughed a lot. Seeing a lot of these actors return was great. But yeah. So anyway, that's all I've got for Independence Day Resurgence. Hope you have a great weekend. If you go out to see it, enjoy it. Let me know what you think in the comments, and we'll be back next week with some more comic reviews and other things. So, and hopefully Sean and I will get to do another retro review in the next week or so. So anyway, peace. Have a great weekend.